Hi there, I'm Dark Shades of Dark Shades Counselling, and even though I call it Dark Shades Counselling, it's not really counselling. I'm just giving some advice that I hope will help you look at your situation differently, and hopefully it will also help improve your state of mind and where you are. But it's not like I'm going to be saying, oh, how are you doing this and why are you doing that? That's not what I do. Um, I've started up this channel. It started up about 3 years ago, more than that, I think. I think it was 2013. I actually began the channel and then I stopped it for about 2 years and I started doing Dark Black Bright, which is a social and political channel. And then because I've started doing more relationship based videos, I was asked to kind of separate them. So that's why this channel is here, to give you a little background. Anyway, I've already done a video on self-esteem. Now this one is about how self-esteem affects relationships. You would think that self-esteem, if you have a low self-esteem, it affects every aspect of your life. And of course it does. And that includes relationships. You'd be surprised how low self-esteem factors in relationships and how there are men who target women in particular who have low self-esteem. Now this channel, or should I say this channel, should I just say this video, is for women. Okay, so I understand that there are men who are targeted and men who have problems with low self-esteem, but this is for women. And if some men can take something from this, well, that is good too. So this is about women who are targeted by men, mostly narcissistic men, who kind of root out those people with low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem, it shows up in so many ways. You know, from if they make a compliment, you're over excited about it. If a man says, oh, you look pretty, and you're like, oh, do I really look pretty? He said, I look pretty. And you get all excited, and in your response to him, you're overly appreciative of his compliments. Men pick up stuff like that. Men pick up women who have low self-esteem. Their antennas are out. They can say little things like, oh, you know, I'd love to be able to go to see this movie. And the woman might say, oh, do you want to go to that movie? I've wanted to go to that movie. I'll get us tickets. If I get us tickets, do you want to go? That woman is thinking she's just being nice. But a man will pick up that that woman has low self-esteem, because otherwise she would have probably said, oh, really? You'd like to go to the show? Have you seen it before? She would ask some questions. So might have said, well, if you decide to go, I wouldn't mind joining you. She wouldn't opt to go and buy the tickets and invite him to something that he wants to go to. So that's what I'm saying. There's different ways that men can hone in on women who have low self-esteem and women who are desperate for a partner. Because women who are desperate for a partner will say anything to please that person. You have some guys on these online who will say, oh, you know, I really want to see you. You know, I really want to be with you. That time they have their wife or they're living with a woman. And they make out like, oh, they don't want to get sexually involved, like they're respecting the woman and say, you know, I'd love to be with you. I can't wait to be in your arms, but I realise that it's too soon to be intimate, to make it look like they're the nice guy. And then they might say, you know, but I'd love to see you. I'd love to just see your top half. Could you just show me your top half? Just so I've got something to think about, just so I can drool over you, just so I can think about you. Next thing you know, the woman's sending photographs of her top half. Then it gets lower and lower and lower until he wants to see all parts. It's testing your sense of your levels of self-esteem. You've got men out there who test women's levels of self-esteem. And they might not even know that that's what they're doing, but they know that what they're doing is looking for a certain type of woman. I wonder how many of you remember Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. And he was partnered up with this queen. And he said to her, what do you like to do? And she said, anything you like to do. And then he says, no, what are your interests? I mean, what are you interested in? And she said, anything you're interested in. And then he said, so you mean to say anything I want you would do? And she goes, yes, I'm here to please you. And he said, jump on one leg. And she starts going, whoo, 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 whoo. Woman, beautiful woman, elegant and everything. Everything is lost because she has no esteem, no self-esteem. Her self-esteem is low, is zero. You have to know when you've got high self-esteem, you have to know what your boundaries are. You have to know what you like from what you don't like and make sure you don't do anything that you do not like. And when men start testing your boundaries, you have to make sure you tell them, look, that's far enough. Because men will be testing how far they can go. And I don't know if it's, I should say it's human nature, because I don't think women do that. But men will see how far they can go, what they can get from you. And they do that to see what your level of self-esteem is. See what they can get away with. You know, you'll hear them drop little hints. Oh, you know, I saw a shop. I saw a shirt in that shop. You know, really nice shirt. You know, it was a Burberry shirt. You know that shop down so and so. She goes, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said, oh, I really love that shirt. Next thing you know, the woman's gone and bought the shirt. Low self-esteem. She doesn't even know the man. And these are the women who get caught into these men who say, oh, you know, I'd really love to see you, but I've just lost my job. And they say, oh, I'll pay your fare. I'll pay your taxi. What do you think that's going to lead to? When you start paying for them, you have some women, they don't even have an opinion for themselves. They just, everything their partner says, it's like that person is God. That person knows more than what she knows. And that person might not know anything more than what he or what she knows. They might know something in a certain subject, but it's almost like that person puts every confidence in that person's decisions as though her opinions don't count. That's low self-esteem. When you do not trust your judgment, when you cannot trust what you know. We all know something, but there are some relationships where men will just make it look like they know everything. And so that woman ends up thinking, oh, you know, he's the expert. I leave everything to him. Not realizing that it's tapping away at their self-esteem. So it's very important to hold on to your individuality. It's important to hold on to yourself. It's important to make your own decisions. It's important to have your own opinion. And even if it goes against your spouse, to stick at that opinion. You need to have enough confidence in what you believe in and what you know to challenge somebody who says you're talking rubbish. You know, sometimes when I do these videos, I have people saying, oh, you're talking crap. Why didn't you do more research? And I remember when I used to hear that when I first started, I used to feel, oh my God, you know, should I be doing these videos? I'm really not sure. Are they right? Maybe I didn't do enough research. And now I'm just like, look, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. What I say is not fact, but it's what I believe and what I'm sharing with you. There are some people who will agree and there are some people who don't. And then as I'm looking down the comments, I'll see people who are saying, oh, you were spot on. That was really informative. So you have to have a sense of conviction about who you are, what you believe in, what your morals are, what your principles are, what your values are, and hold on to them. And don't let nobody, not even your spouse, not a parent, take that away from you. You have to have enough self-esteem to know that what you hold dear for yourself. You're not put on this earth to placate and please other people. You're put on this earth to make the most of yourself, to bring out the best in yourself. And you can only do that if you trust yourself and trust your judgment. And a lot of people, they don't trust their judgment. And they may not trust their judgment, like I've said in previous videos, because of past experiences, through indoctrination. It could be through, on the media, we're constantly, we have information constantly being repeated over time until you actually believe what you're seeing. And that's the thing with repetition. If you've got somebody repeating the same thing, it actually comes over as though it's true. And you have to reach a point where you challenge it. There'll always be something in your gut that says, this ain't right. This doesn't feel right. Start doubting yourself. You're like, no, I'm sure that this is so and so, or I'm sure I said this so and so. And you'll get people trying to say that you said something else, or they'll try to twist what you say, or that it's almost like you're going crazy. And that's why it's so important, not necessarily to remember everything you say. You're not a bloody computer. But it's important to know and stand by your conviction. And regardless, you might not be as eloquent as another person. You might not have a wild vocabulary as another person. You might not even be able to speak on the same level as another person. But you have your values, you have your principles, and you have to hold firm onto those in order to improve your self-esteem. They do say, oh, you must look in the mirror and say how lovely you are. And that can sound a bit ridiculous. I think it's more to do with trusting yourself again, raising the opinion you have of yourself, raising the bar. It's so important to raise the bar, raise the expectations you have for yourself. Some of us have so low expectations for ourselves. We don't set the bar high enough. And we need to set the bar high enough. We need to compete against ourselves and be the best that we can possibly be, and be proud of what that best is. It might not be somebody else's best, but it's your best, and that's good enough. I think I was also going to say infidelity affects self-esteem, because when somebody is unfaithful, it makes you feel as though you're not good enough. And so that is another thing that affects self-esteem. And and you have to be careful that a lot of times people do find themselves in narcissistic relationships, especially people who have been tested, having their boundaries tested, especially when you meet someone online who kind of knows from the questions that they're asking that you have low self-esteem, that you're the type of person who wants to please. People with low self-esteem are people pleasers. They don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to challenge anyone. They don't want conflict. They're yes people. And if somebody asks them to do something, they say, oh yes, I'll do it. And then after they've said it, they're like, oh bloody hell, why did I say that? And then because they feel committed to what they say, they feel as though they've got to do it. So all I'm saying is pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to your feelings. It's really, really important for your self-esteem. It's fine looking in the mirror and saying I'm beautiful. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. But if you pay attention to your feelings and pay attention when somebody says something to you, how that makes you feel. How does it make you feel, really? All these times you've been playing it off and saying, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. When you know there's something niggling, there's something in what that person has said that makes you feel uncomfortable. Listen to your voice. Listen to how you feel. Pay attention to how you feel, because when you pay attention to how you feel, you'll start wanting to change that feeling, and you'll start questioning it, and you'll start questioning the person who's making you feel that way, and say, did you mean to say that, because I found it quite offensive, or did you mean to say it in that way because it made me feel uncomfortable? And when they realize that you're onto them, then their behavior will change. You don't even have to say anything. Sometimes it's about raising awareness. Sometimes people get in such a habit, they don't even realize that what they're saying is going to affect you. Sometimes it's their nature to be condescending or patronizing or putting people down or seeing what they can get away with. It's the game of life. People are like that. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that nobody has reined them in. Nobody has said, hold on a minute. You're overstepping your boundaries, mate. Back off. Don't talk to me like that. Don't speak to me as though I'm an idiot. And that's how it's got to be sometimes. You have to stand up, but you can only do that if you pay attention to how you feel, how it makes you feel, if it makes you feel inferior, if it makes you feel put down, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, whatever that feeling is. I don't know what the feeling is, but that is what you need to challenge in relationships. And it doesn't have to be in a hostile way. It doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be cynical. It can just be as simple as I said. Did you mean to make me feel uncomfortable when you said that statement? I said, no, what do you mean? You're too sensitive. No, I'm not too sensitive. I'm just asking you a question. Did you mean, was it deliberate for me to feel uncomfortable while you made that statement? No, you're making a mountain over a molehill. No, I'm not. I'm just asking a question. Will you answer my question? The fact that they're saying you're making a mountain out of a molehill proves that they were deliberately trying to make you feel uncomfortable. Deliberately trying to make you feel uncomfortable. So so that's what self-esteem in relationships about. It is about paying attention to your feelings. It's about paying attention to your boundaries. It's about setting boundaries. It's about calling out people who make you feel uncomfortable. It's about distancing yourself from people who are negative about you. They might be negative about something else. That's something else. But if they try to be negative or make you feel inferior, it's about distancing yourself emotionally so that their comments don't affect you. And a lot of time, like I've said, low self-esteem comes from criticism as a young person. People who have been criticized or abused or whatever. They're the people that normally have a low self-esteem. And because they realize that despite whatever they do, it's never good enough, especially if you have overcritical parents or even overprotective parents. They can end up making you have low self-esteem because people go up thinking they can't do anything. The way that the parents have overprotected them from the real life, it makes them feel as, oh my God, I never expected this. And they can have a low self-esteem. So we need a nice balance. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. I hope you find this video helpful. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.